Hi everybody, how are you doing today? If you're new here, my name is Sherry. I'm an adult with ADHD and possibly autism. I would diagnose myself if I could. Been going over it for like 2 years. I've been doing a lot of research lately, and I want to say hi, and I hope everybody is well. Um, some of you might be questioning why I'm suddenly doing all of this health content. You're used to seeing either ADHD videos, well, it's been a while, or cat videos. Recently I've had to take my second leave of absence from my job, and my health is kind of not good. And I was recently diagnosed with ME/CFS, which is otherwise known as chronic fatigue, which I've been doing a lot of learning about. So I wanted to let you know that if I post a lot about health-related things, that is not going to be like the end-all be-all future of my channel. I still want to do content about ADHD and autism because that's a part of my life, but this is just where I'm at right now. So if you bear with me, if this is not something that you're interested in, I am going to get back to my other content as I'm feeling better. In the meantime, because this is how I deal with things when I don't feel in control, is I kind of obsess and hyper focus and use that, what some would call superpower of my ADHD, autism, weirdo special interest in anatomy and physiology and healthcare and all of that, and trying to learn as much as I can about things that I can do. And as I learn them, I want to share them with you. Because I think a lot of this stuff, it's really tricky because, so I'm not a doctor. I know I say that a million times. And I think it's important to say that. My knowledge goes so far. I am a former nursing student. I was in nursing school for a year. I have a former degree in phlebotomy, and that's for somebody who draws blood. And they really cover a lot of things when you take any kind of medical themed degree, which was, it really impressed me a lot and made me even more interested in medicine in general. It's amazing to me, like when I took phlebotomy, I mean, you think that you would just learn the basics of, anatomy and drawing blood. But you learn a lot. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about the human body. You learn medical terminology. And when I first graduated from that in 2012, at that point in time, there actually wasn't, in the area where I lived, there wasn't any job opportunities, which I was really surprised. There were some, but technically, if I wanted to follow that, I could have gotten a job working with Red Cross, and I should have probably done that. I mean, retrospect is 2020, right? Looking back. But I originally went to school wanting to be a nurse. So I took it as a sign. In the hospital system, and this is even before, I live in New England area of America. So a hospital system is when we used to have individual hospitals, and then over time now we have hospital systems where they have, well, I don't want to really get into that so much because I don't know a lot about that. Lahey is a big one, and Lahey, like the hospital that I went and did my internship for drawing blood, has since become part of that. So it's become an even wider hospital system. But at the time, that hospital was already part of a system of hospitals in the area. And in the whole system, there was like, I don't even know why. You would think that there would be more There was like one job opening. I don't know. That was that particular time, maybe that particular month, that particular year, which is unusual. They just really weren't hiring. They had enough phlebotomists everywhere. They weren't hiring that year. So at the time, I really wanted to work in a hospital environment versus working in a lab. Like not a lab inside a hospital, but an independent, like Quest Diagnostics. And I'm really getting into stuff. But, or working at like a Red Cross for doing blood donations. Now, there's nothing wrong with those things. And if my long-term goal was drawing blood, I would have done that. But I wasn't sure. And that was the degree available to me at the time to be able to not lose my job. It's a long story. I was able to do it while I was working. Nursing is quite different. And I wasn't ready to just leave my job to do full-time school. I couldn't afford that. So I thought, hey, this is a sign that I'm just going to keep doing school and go towards nursing. So then I did that. I'm getting really off topic here, aren't I? But anyway, so you might see some things. I do have to be careful as I start to research things. I am an outside the box kind of thinker, which is kind of cool. Sometimes for me, I can bypass. I'm going to have to think about how to articulate this. Let me give you an example. I'm not like super smart. I'm not like better than anybody. I'm not smarter than anyone. I think differently. So if something is common sense to me, other people might not think about it. It doesn't mean I'm smarter. Maybe in that particular situation, I'm smart different, maybe. So for instance, when you know those science experiments that you do in school where you have to build a robot, or not a robot. This seems off topic, but bear with me. Those contraptions, they say, build a contraption to protect an egg, and we're going to throw them off the roof. And I'm like looking at all of these different things, and that was the assignment, is for you to build something, some kind of device that you could put an egg in. And I looked at them all, and I'm like, well, this is stupid. So bear with me. This is my thinking process. I don't actually think something is stupid. It's just because my brain works different. So it's stupid to me. So I don't understand why it's not obvious to other people. But it doesn't mean that I'm better. Am I explaining that correctly? I'm different. That's the thing about being neurodivergent. You think differently, right? So I'm thinking, well, why would you build all these weird shapes? And I'm like, what kind of thing can you build that no matter how you throw it, it's going to land exactly the same? A sphere. It didn't seem practical for me. I'm like looking at all these weird little contraptions people are making, and I'm like, okay, they're great ideas. You can put something with springs in it, who knows? But I'm like, a ball, a sphere. I mean, put the egg in the center, fill it with foam, some kind of sphere device. So I got a hamster ball, and I utilize my dad's knowledge of adhesives. My dad's a science guy, and got some like egg shaped foam and created some kind of capsule on the inside, and it was a hamster ball, and the top part like comes off, and how am I going to do this? Maybe I can just hold this like this. Okay. So imagine a sphere, right? And then the top part's kind of concaved for the lid that you take off. And so for the foam on the inside, I had it kind of shaped, and there was like a teeny little space in the center. Now you do have to be careful. You make that foam too firm, and you put the egg's going to crack. You make the space too big, and the egg's going to move around and it's going to crack when it throws. So it's, then I had to figure out like, okay, what kind of foam? And God bless my partner. I had a partner and she just like let me run with it. And I'm sorry. Was her name Ebony? I can't remember. She was so sweet. She just let me run with it. We got an A. I think her name, I can't remember what her name was. Oh my God, my memory from when I was little. How old was I? Oh my God, she was amazing. She was the sweetest girl ever. Um, anyway, so I'm like, is this allowed? Can we just do a ball? I don't even know. So I covered it with stickers and yeah, had some test runs at home, had some broken eggs until, so that's like just I know this is, I'm really going down a tangent, but to me, it just seems like anything else doesn't seem practical. It's a ball. Like, how, if you build any other shape or anything with things sticking out, you can't predict. You throw it off of a roof. What do you have? What are the different factors that you have to worry about if you throw something off of a roof? You got wind going this way or that way. You don't know if it's going to be a windy day. You don't know if it's going to be a rainy day. You don't know how the person's going to throw it. What do you have control over? Nothing. So if you make anything with any great ideas, you have a million different variables to screw it up. I made a ball. It worked. I got an A. We got an A. I think I believe so. So yeah, that's how I think. So another example of this is when there's controversy about something, like when I was having the first time I was having chronic illness and nobody could give me answers, and I was younger, and I had never taken any medical courses at all. I had a book about herbs, which I found really fascinating, and actually I still have it, and I found it. If you guys want me to do a live when I'm feeling up to it, I can share stuff with you. We can look up anything you want. If there's anything you're interested in taking, we can look it up. Now, this is an old book now. I was in my 20s, and I found it. This thing is great. Healing Herbs, The Ultimate Guide. And yes, you do want to make sure that, hi girl, you do want to make sure that the things that you look up for health are generally, like, especially when you're talking about diseases. Like right now I'm learning about chronic fatigue, and it's so freaking complicated, and it's a lot. Because from what I understand, from what I'm learning so far, and I'm just starting to learn about it, so you've got the bias of the, oh, that's just chronic fatigue, that's not real. Because I remember when they just didn't, a lot of people just didn't even think that was real, and I found out why, which was very disappointing and horrifying, actually. So if you have a group of people that are in the psychology field and they're biased because that's what they have dedicated their life to, is the human mind, which is wonderful, we need that, but for them to then assume, this is what bothered me so much. The whole point of the scientific method is to check your assumptions, your hypothesis, against fact. And science can be very, very flawed if you don't do studies correctly. And this human history, like science and medical history, is filled with this. Hold on. Are you trying to get in there? What are you doing, honey? You're funny. I had moved some stuff from the other room. I don't even know why it's there. I think this is before the chronic fatigue. My symptoms got so bad that I was just stuck in bed a lot. The fact that I'm sitting here is just good. This is actually really good. Ooh, I know why. So do I want to get into this now? I don't usually advocate spending a lot of money on something. There is something about this protein powder that this meal replacement powder that my fiance buys, and it's expensive. And he doesn't want me to have it, which bothers me. Yeah, so there's this whole block of things this whole category of things that I can't talk about on my channel because I don't think it's appropriate. So any kind of, I've done 2 videos now in the last 2 days where I've kind of started to touch base on some of the issues, but I don't want to publicly talk about relationship stuff because that's not what I'm here for, and I could be wrong about things, and I don't want to be trashing anybody, especially my loved ones and my significant other. But yeah, I didn't understand. I can't say it. I can't say it. Anyway, Ka'Chava. It's really expensive. It's really expensive. He buys it. He's now brought it to work, so I can't have it. I don't even want to talk about it. Why are you spending $70? I'll just say this, because this I don't mind saying to family and friends and him. Why are you spending that much money on something if you don't want me to have it? And I'm sick. And you spend a lot of money on things that you enjoy. I get it. I'm not working right now. That's as much as I can go. But that made me really kind of hurt because it was actually making me feel better. Ka'Chava is the Rolls Royce of meal replacement. It's super expensive. It's like $70-something a bag. And it's really hard for me to find nutrition and things to help me feel better, that give my body the nutrition it needs. And there's something in that was helping me. And I was looking at the ingredients, and I think it's a combination of things. It has a lot in it. It's got a lot of nutrients. And it's got a lot of superfoods. Now, I have looked into, actually, this might be relevant. I've gone all over the place with this conversation. So the closest thing that I could find that's more affordable if you want something that's good for you like that is Orgain is really, really, really sweet. They have a new one or newish one, Simple. Make sure that, I think it says Simple. Protein powders is just like, they're so expensive. But if you have a chronic illness and you have trouble having enough energy to feed yourself, and you need people to, you don't have energy to go grocery shopping and you're having people help you so that it's impairing your ability to like feed yourself and do things, it's important to have the best quality nutrition that you can for whatever your budget is. And some of these things that are healing are very expensive. So the closest thing there are some protein powders that are kind of in the similar category as Ka'Chava. It is a plant-based protein powder, but it's like a meal replacement. It has like fruits, vegetables, powdered form in there. So there's lots of nutrients from that. Of course, I always wonder how much you're actually getting from it once it's been processed to that point. It loses some of the, things that you get from fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables. But it's concentrated, right? And if somebody is immunocompromised or, like I always say, check with your doctor because depending on your health situation, there's so many things that I don't know and we don't know because we're not doctors about different health situations that you maybe shouldn't have certain things. And that's why it gets so complicated, right? It's so complicated learning about all these things. Anyway, Ka'Chava has, I didn't realize, it has some of these, these supplements that you can get in the aisle if you go to your local pharmacy and grocery store, and they are mushrooms. So they are marketed as things to help your brain. Lion's mane, cordyceps, something. There's like 3 main ones that you'll see, but there's a bunch of them. And I'm always kind of curious about these different like mental these brain health supplements. They're very expensive as well. And I'm always curious about those things. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole, and that's not something I will go down for a while, because I'm like not well. I can't do that. That's too much. I have like this much energy, and I'm already spending too much being curious about so many things, and I can't help it. When I get curious, my brain's like a freight train. Once it goes down one direction, I can't stop it, because then I want to know everything. And then I also have to try to manage my energy and stop myself, which is not easy. If you have autism or ADHD and you get interested in something, yeah, that's the hyperfocus. It's tough. So right now my hyperfocus, now that I've talked about everything from here to the moon, but not what I started saying, is I'm trying to learn a little bit about chronic fatigue syndrome and what it actually is. I'm trying to learn about autistic and ADHD burnout, because that's what I thought I was in. And they look very, very similar. And they have some of the same damage to the body. And you can have both at the same time. And if you do, they can feed into each other. They look so similar, chronic fatigue syndrome and autistic burnout. I know the last 2 years I had been learning about autistic burnout, and I was just really, really shocked that something like ADHD, autism, being neurodivergent can cause your health to be so negatively impacted that you could physically be ill, not able to function, and not be able to work. And it's still hard to get your brain around that, because you're like, well, why are you getting sick? Why is it making you sick? And that's a whole, like, once I'm better, I mean, I would maybe even like to do a series of videos on that, because it's so, I mean, this should be like a public service announcement. I mean, burnout isn't just, it's not the same thing as regular neurotypical burnout from a job, where you can get sick from that too. But usually that takes more time to get there, and it's not as deep, and it's not as dangerous to your health, perhaps. But yeah, neurodivergent burnout can be not only bad for your health, but it can be dangerous for some people. If it goes to, it will turn into a chronic fatigue eventually. Your body will start shutting down. And it's a combination of things. It's hard to get your brain around it. It really is, because we think of ADHD as just distraction, and it's like, yeah, you can learn about executive functioning, and yes, it's stressful and everything, but you get over it, or you figure out ways to manage it. But how does it physically make you so sick? And it's because the body can only do so much. And we think of these things in almost categories. It's almost like as you learn about these, you're like, okay, you learn about masking. What causes that? What's the price you pay with masking? And then you kind of visualize all the different scenarios, like, oh, okay. And you can know cognitively, intellectually, how that would take a toll on your health. But you don't think it would do it to that extent. But it's really hard to actually learn all of these different aspects and then filter them all in together and know the whole, what they call allostatic load, the load of all of the stress combined. You know, all the stress hormones, the cortisol and adrenaline that is basically dumping on your body, washing your body. And it's kind of corrosive, I think. I have to do more learning to make sure that I'm talking about these things in the right way and that I'm remembering it correctly, because I also don't want to be scaring people. You know, sometimes it can take a long time to get to that point. And if you imagine the neurodivergent experience of just the simple day-to-day things, you're trying feels like 10 times harder to do things that are automated for other people, like your morning ritual, plus your time blindness, plus you're hiding your qualities so that it's not being held against you at like work or within, extended family, all of these things. So it's like we can narrow down and learn about each category of all the different like challenges, but now how do they affect each other? The challenges will multiply. And think about all of that stress and the stress and the stress and the stress. And you multiply that over all day long, all the different scenarios. And you're so used to trying to suck it up and white knuckling it, and you don't even know you're doing it. I really do think that that's part of why there is a higher addiction rate in like ADHD. I mean, I think it's more than just the lack of dopamine. Or the poor use of dopamine, or however it works. But anyway, health being negatively impacted by these things. I don't know. I think that maybe we are newer in this. It's like a newer frontier that I think like the medical field is just starting to understand, or giving credence to it. And when it doesn't understand something, it doesn't believe it, which comes from a good place, because with science, it's part of the good thing about science, because we don't want to jump to assumptions about things. That's how science works, the scientific method. It's very important that we don't jump to conclusions and assume things that end up not being true, because then you come up with the wrong treatments and the wrong ideas, and then you may miss the actual cause of things. But that's also the side of science that isn't sometimes open to new ideas, isn't open to understanding what's actually going on. And it's a process, and it happens over time. And also, this gets complicated because, studies have to be paid for, and there has to be a problem. Sorry, I'm scratching my arm. I just don't think a lot of people are aware of the effect that it can have on someone's health. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's been a half an hour. Yes, this book is old. It's a great book. This is maybe because I saw this, and you can look up any herb. Let's find one. Do you have a favorite herb? You have a favorite spice? And it tells you what it does medicinally. And it tells you the interactions with other drugs and other herbs, the dangers of using it, what it was thought of throughout history to be beneficial for, what it actually is beneficial for, and also the dangers. So I thought, well, this is great. This is how we should be looking at things like herbs and medicine. Let's look at the facts, let's be proactive and think of them as, and this is before, it's amazing to me that I thought of this back then. And then 10 years later, I started having my first time of having some health problems, and I had to find a solution, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I'm wondering now if this was chronic fatigue back then. I don't know. I do think about potentially sharing in the future 2 of the health issues that I've had that I have wondered if they were a part of my health issues, but I only share so much because I'm a human being and this is a public forum, and I don't need to share everything, but maybe someday I will. But anyway, so yeah, if I'm sharing a lot right now, it's overwhelming. I'm sorry. And this is normal for me. I might go a little crazy obsessing and learning about mitochondria and things you can do to heal chronic fatigue and or autistic burnout, because that's where I am. I'm not going to be doing cute videos with my cat right now because I'm sick. And I only have a certain amount of energy each day to decide what I can do. And I might have to choose between showering or doing the dishes. And I might have, like yesterday, I spent probably a couple hours. I didn't mean to spend that long. I use an AI assistant on my phone to do some research for me for this beginning of it. And, I don't want to say that's sketchy because it can make mistakes, but I made sure when I did that post last night and I put it in my community tab. It's kind of long and I'm sorry about that. But the first part is just me talking and saying, hey, this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering about mitochondria. I'm wondering what's going on with the energy. Is there anything we can do to support them? If my body is like, the battery's not charging and there's actual damage going on, let me try to understand what that is. What is it? What causes it? Okay, there may or may not be something I can do about it, but is there something I can do? And sometimes the small things that we can do to support ourselves might get our health to the point that it can go above that threshold where we can start building again. And it's not constantly losing and getting worse. And anything that we can do to help ourselves, even if it's something really small, makes a huge difference, especially if you're somebody who is stuck in bed. So yeah, I might spend, I don't know, the next few weeks like going down rabbit holes when I feel well enough. And maybe I'll feel good today. Like maybe I'll be able to actually go to the store for the first time in months. I don't know. And then maybe the next few days I won't. I have no idea. It's really unpredictable. But at least wanted to let you know. I know that if it was me and I was interested in a channel because of the ADHD content or the cat videos, and all of a sudden I saw, oh, this person's ill and I'm not really interested in that. I just want you guys to know this isn't forever. This is for now. And all these, ideally, I want to be well, and there are things I get excited about, and there's a lot of beautiful things. I want to live again. I want to do great content, like the things that bring benefit, like joy and happiness, not just, this stuff's very, very important if you're not well. So I think it's all important, and I don't really have a huge community, but I do know that it does matter. So I'm just going with where I'm at right now, and as things get better, I'm going to be doing other stuff too. And I was thinking I would love to do some content where I'm painting, or doing art and share that with you. Or, I do want to go and go to the orthopedic person and have them look at my shoulder. And if I can do some physical therapy and get my shoulder better again, and actually, hopefully, it'd be great if I could do it this year, but my health is scary. I'm scared of it. It scares me. Hopefully I'm trying not to get scared. It's just something I don't understand. It's like we take for granted. We think you just rest and you'll be fine. You'll get better. We take these systems in our body that naturally restore us for granted. But then there are these things like chronic fatigue, where these systems in your body are the things that are damaged. And then that's a problem. If the part of your body, like utilizing the energy from your food, is damaged, that's a huge problem, because your body uses that to heal itself. I feel like I'm in a rowboat and there's a leak. And I'm trying to get somewhere, but I had to stop because now I'm digging, I'm like scooping the water out, but I don't know how to plug it up. Or like a charge, like my battery in my body is not charging. That's so scary because you're like, well, where does that energy come from? The mitochondria. So, what are the mitochondria? And I'm going to end this video, so don't worry, I'm not going to get into a big thing about it. But the mitochondria, we can do an A&P lesson if you want. Oh my God, because I forget so much. I have to dig all my books out. I'm sure we can. I'm going to find some little videos. And also, too, I'm not going to have the energy. Part of the thing that takes up a lot of energy is vetting things. So there's a lot of stuff I'm seeing, and like I wanted to post this video to my community tab for you guys about mitochondria that I was just watching. I'm like, this is great, I'm going to post it. But then I would do my due diligence and say, okay, well, who is this guy? What is the information on this person? Is there any controversy? Are they legit? What is their... Because we should be doing all of that too. And then also you have to vet the sources that you get that information from as well. And I can't feed myself sometimes because I have no energy. So that's a hell of a lot of energy. So if I find something that I think might be useful, just keep that in mind that I may not have the energy to vet these sources yet. So I don't necessarily know. They seems on first blush to me from things that I've learned in school, the small amount that I have learned about anatomy and physiology and how the human body works and how health works. When I watch it, it rings true. Like if things ring true, I'll post it, but I may not be able to vet them. And so I'll do a little disclaimer and I'll say, hey, I don't know if anything about this person. Like, some people that are famous and they end up having a platform on YouTube or elsewhere, and then it turns out later on that certain controversy comes out about them, and then we find out they're not who they say they are. And so I have a certain amount of, I try to have some discernment about that. Because if I just jump on something and go, this is great, this seems great, and I post it, and it turns out that that person isn't reliable, for lack of a better word, I don't think that that would necessarily be helpful, because then anything that we learn from them, you have questions about. For instance, if the person claims to be an expert and it turns out their background isn't what they say it is, like they're falsely representing themselves. There are people that are like that. There are also people who think they know more than they do. I'm sure I think I do that. Because I'm a student. I've been a student. I'm not a professional. So and I always have to I always want to double and triple check everything, because I have to make sure I stop and question myself, because things may seem knowledgeable. I have a certain amount that it seems right. But I need to not get comfortable. I need to make sure that I double check things, that it's good information. And right now I might not be able to do that. So keep that in mind and use your discretion. And if anything I share, and if I end up sharing things from different people and it ends up being bad information, let me know. I'll take it down immediately. I try to be as discerning as I possibly can, because especially with health information, I mean, there are real consequences. Even though I say check with your doctor first, if I share something and it ends up being bad information, I don't want people to get harmed in any way. So I always want to double and triple check everything the best that I can. But the whole thing about the mitochondria, which is kind of scary about it, is because they're in all of your cells in your whole body. It's not like one area of your body that powers your whole body. Like you could look at your cardiovascular system, like your heart pumping, right? Blood, that's like a large system. Well, your mitochondria are the little part inside every cell in your body. So it's like everywhere. It's ubiquitous. It's throughout your whole body. So that's why I get a little nervous learning about that. Because I'm like, oh shit, what could damage the mitochondria of the cells in your body? Like, that's scary. Is it everywhere? Like, how do you fix that? Okay. So if you're taking time off of work, now you also, the treatment, no, just using not only chronic fatigue, but, autistic burnout as well. The cause is because each of us has different struggles because we're all so different. The cause is what brought you to that place. Might be an accumulation of multiple things. So to heal, you have to address those factors that were making you sick. So it's a combination. Yes, you still have to do the therapy, even though it's not in your head, because if you're autistic or ADHD and you've been under an enormous amount of stress, because the demands in your life maybe exceed your ability at that particular time, regardless if it's work, if it's like too much is going on in your life and you can't do all the things that are expected of you, you should have support for that. And a therapist is very helpful to kind of help you get through the stress of it all. And they can see things from the outside and help you determine practical things that you can do on your day-to-day to reduce those demands. It gets very tricky because now you're looking at, it depends on somebody if they're a parent and they're supporting kids and there's no aspect of your life that is not affected. I mean, how are you going to, it's like saying just stress less. Like, well, there are things that cause stress. So what is that? And a lot of us can't just suddenly move. We can't just suddenly leave our jobs. So, I mean, it's complicated. So there's that whole thing of that process of learning what brought you to the place that ended up being too many layers of stress that actually made you physically sick and your health is in danger or it's precarious now. Now you have to go back and look at all those things. You want to have a therapist because you deserve to have somebody who's in your corner, not because you're crazy, not because you have mental problems, not because, you want someone to make you feel better. No, you have this problem that's now affected your health. And if you don't take care of it, you're not going to live a long time. And that's not acceptable for you. You deserve everything that everybody else has. I don't care just because I don't care what anyone says. As far as like, just because you're neurodivergent doesn't mean you don't deserve the same things that other people have. Even if you have challenges, you deserve support. And if you need therapy and it helps you feel better, do it. And then you also need to go to doctors. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. So the whole process of like deconstructing everything and going backwards and learning what the F, what in my life got me to this point that my health, if not now, potentially in the future, if I keep going down this road, could be in danger. And what do I need to re-steer the ship in the right direction so my health is not in jeopardy? Well, maybe you can't do that right now. But if you can and if you're open to it, I would recommend therapy just to support yourself in this time because it's a fucking lot. I'm sorry to swear, but nobody should have to go through all of this and to have it be your responsibility. Like you're in a position that you need to ask people for help. And then you're expected to fix it on your own as well. And it's like layers of stuff. If you're neurodivergent and you pass as normal, people don't believe you. You don't believe you. If you have chronic fatigue, you seem okay, sometimes on the outside, people won't believe you. How do you ask for support? How do you know what support to get? So I don't know. I'm still figuring a lot of this stuff out for myself. Hopefully, sharing my story and the different things I find out along the way will be helpful. And at least in the meantime, right now I'm going to be obsessed and going down rabbit holes about mitochondria. All right. If the damage, out of all the things that are going on in my body, if that's the thing that's making it scary for me right now, when I'm looking at all these potential things that are going on in your body when you're having this, that's the thing that makes things slowly get worse. If you have so much damage to your body that your individual cells cannot produce energy, and you need that energy to do the healing, to digest the food, to give your brain energy it needs, to give your heart the energy to keep beating. If they're not working, you're fucked. So I'm like, what can I do about that? That's kind of important. What's damaging them? Is it just the stress hormones? I don't know. I haven't learned it yet. But yeah, so I was looking into supplements, and if you don't feel like reading that whole thing that I wrote, I mean, that's just from working with my AI assistant on my phone because I rely on it, because I don't have the spoons, and I don't have the physical energy from being sick to be able to do the things that I can do, which is real research on my own, which is already hella hard. And so AI is a godsend. It does make mistakes. So just bear that in mind. Love you guys. I don't know what that was. It's really windy out. I could go check on my cat. She's jumping on something. Oh my God, this is 46 minutes. Yes, so I'm very interested in learning what I can do to support the mitochondria. And I was very surprised that one of the supplements is one of those mushrooms that you would take to support your brain health. I believe it was off the top of my memory, because I'm going to buy some of those. It is important to check with your doctor. Why? Some supplements are like blood thinners. If you're on blood thinners, I mean, that's one example why. People put those disclaimers for a reason. I know it's a pain. I know you're like, hey, these supplements are here. Do I have to check with my doctor? It wouldn't hurt. Or look up what health problems you know that you have, at least. If you're not going to do it and you're just going to do what you're going to do anyway, at least go online and look up your health concerns. Can somebody with this medication and these health conditions, is it safe to take this? Do something. You know, even though it seems like I'm recommending those things, I am and I'm not, because I don't know if they're safe for you. I don't know. I'm just like, oh, this is great. This is great. This can help our mitochondria here. But I want you guys to know each of us has to do the due diligence to make sure they're safe before you put it in your body in case something bad happens. For instance, just like 3 or 4 supplements that are very widely known. And I want to say they're all blood thinners. That's a perfect example. And let's say you're already on blood thinners. You're like, I'm going to take some ginkgo for my memory. What, ginseng? Is that a blood thinner too? Energy. Something else. And you get in a car accident and they need to do surgery on you. You are in trouble. I'm rambling. This is good though. This is good. I don't know if I'm feeling better. I'm just feeling better right now, but I will take it. It is crazy windy outside. I have seen that swan. I'm really happy about the swan. And I will, as I learn more, I will share and talk to you more later. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.